Do you struggle with Silksong's difficulty?
I got this.
Well, don't worry. There's something here for you. The Wanderer Crest. This crest genuinely makes the game feel 10 times easier because you can completely void the ability to learn any boss patterns and simply spam the attack button. I'm doing a series where I try to learn every single crest in the game by beating true ending with all of them. Out of the 4 that I have now completed, Wanderer was by far the quickest and easiest playthrough out of all of them. If you've spent any time in Hollow Knight with Quick Slash, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And as someone who spent most of their time in that game practicing with Pantheons, using Wanderer Crest feels like I'm right at home. So come with me as I beat a slightly reskinned Hollow Knight. I fully believe that Wanderer is a middle-of-the-pack crest, mainly because it only has access to one red tool slot. However, for me, this doesn't matter at all because I hate those things and I barely even use them anyways. Additionally, for this full challenge, I'm not going to pick up any upgrades like hearts or spool fragments, and I'm only going to play on Needle 2 because I feel like it just makes it more fun to be going into bosses unupgraded, especially in the late game. With all that out of the way, let's go into the Wanderer playthrough, which starts off with a bit of an interesting route. You see, the earliest way to unlock the Wanderer crest is with a simple key, so I farmed up 500 rosaries and then went through Wormways to get down to the Chapel of the Wanderer and pick it up. Now we have the crest for basically the entire game, starting with the Bell Beast. Now I want to preface this by saying that I haven't used the Wanderer crest in about 2 months as of when I played through this, because I only used it in my main playthrough and then dropped it basically immediately after I was done with 100%. I say this, but there's not really an excuse for me dying to Bell Beast at this point. I'm sorry, I don't know how I did it. You can void all of my opinions from now on, because honestly, they deserve to be voided. I don't think you can trust me anymore. Anyways, with this massive threat dealt with, I was able to move on with my day and continue progressing through Act 1. You know, one thing that was kind of pissing me off about using Wanderer was that I didn't have Sprint yet, so it turned movement from looking like this to looking like this. You know, I missed my Hunter Pogo for this early game, but it was okay. There was no unnecessary mistakes that would come because I had muscle memory using it, of course. Oh, fuck. Luckily for me, this only happened twice, and I was then able to go pick up Sprint, and then all my problems were solved. I still couldn't Pogo Dash, but it's fine. But Wanderer starts to shine once you start getting into the bosses. It did take me an hour to get to Drifter's Cloak, which is, you know, not the fastest, but I had picked up some useful things on the way, so it was okay. And once I got up to Greymoor, I was schmoving, okay? This Moorwing fight was devious. I destroyed his ass. And it wasn't just Moorwing. I found that every boss I ran into got melted in ways I hadn't seen before. Because of how clean these 2 bosses felt for me, I instantly just started rushing Citadel, because I wanted to do all of these early game bosses as quickly as possible. Chalamet skip, baby! Anyways, Phantom's a pretty fast-paced boss for the early game. It's normally one I'm okay at. However, with Wanderer, I flew. Why do I keep saying flew? However, with Wanderer, I threw everything I knew about this boss out the window, because this is what my gameplay sounded like, okay? It was this the whole time. This is all I was doing. By the nature of the crest, you're going to get a lot more silk from hitting more. Because of that, you can face tank literally everything, because you're just going to hit them enough to get enough silk for a heal and then get it all back. Phantom only does 1 damage per hit, which makes this strategy extra potent. if you can call it a strategy, sorry. I'm glorifying this a little. There's no skill involved, really. This is my point. This is why it's easy mode, right? I didn't use any of the skills I developed in the last video. I just pressed the left click button. I think this first phase of Cogwork Denzu speaks for itself. Look how much damage I'm getting with the Scream Skip, holy fuck. The rest of the fight went pretty much equally as smoothly, and then I headed straight for Clawline. Now, Clawline is obviously really good because it opens up the whole game, but not only that, because I opened Wormways earlier, it also lets me get a Silk skill that I haven't picked up before in this series. That is Sharp Dart. Basically, With how good Wanderer is with Silk Generation, Sharp Dart becomes insanely spammable, and I think it's one of the strongest combos in the game. Using this, I beat Lost Lace hitless in a minute and a half, and so I was excited to try it in the rest of the game.
What the fuck? This is the final boss?
After a not-so-quick Wings pit stop, I then went through Cogward Core and headed down to High Halls. High Halls Gauntlet is normally pretty hard, and I did die to it once, but the second time was the fastest that I've ever done it. Also had Memory Crystal for face snack things. Oh wait, I fucking scream skipped. Wait, that was sick. Bro, that was fucking devious, bro. What the fuck is that? After a really quick lace fight, oh my days, it was time to do all the different quests for F3. You guys know the drill by now, it's just a bunch of the random stuff. One of the ones I did was Skull Tyrant, who got blown up in like 20 seconds. It was pretty crazy. While that happens, I'll talk about Wanderer a little bit, because I haven't mentioned how I feel about the crest yet. I do like it, but I just think it's a bit boring, because everything just evaporates in front of you and you don't have to think ever. So I'd rather use other stuff. Pretty cool though. On the topic of absurdly fast boss fights, this conchfly was one of the most satisfying ones I'd ever completed. I even made a little Mickey Mouse ass noise at the end, which I thought was pretty funny. For all you Gruul fans out there, I'm sorry he didn't end up getting the kill on me. It was just one of his random minions. But after that, the second time around, I came back and I dropped him. The spammable Sharp Dart is a little bit silly, I'm not gonna lie. The damage I can output with this crest is matched by every red tool, but I don't use those normally, so it feels unmatched, you know what I'm saying? Since I fought Chakra on a whim in the first playthrough, killing her has now become a tradition in all 6 of these runs, not Shaman, because Act 3 only, you know? It's a fun boss, and I actually first tried it this time, which was great, because, you know, I'm not that practiced with it. I'm crediting this one to me and not Wanderer, though, because Chakra's too fast to get multiple hits in anyways, so it was just using a shorter range Reaper, basically. Don't you love it when Bell Eater hits you with the fucking... I've never been very good at Bell Eater, and that is still the case here, but it didn't take me too long to beat him. If you're not aware, in this series I do voided deep docks because I've never died to Cygnus and Braun before, so I figured the extra challenge would just make it a little bit more fun. And it's a good thing that with Wanderer, because I'm so good in bosses with it, that would continue to be the case. Fuck. These guys kind of just like stand around, so with Wanderer you can just whack them a lot and it does a ton of damage. I ended up using Threadstorm on this boss because it was really nice for clearing all of the avoided adds, as you could basically just one-shot them with a fully extended hitbox, and it ended up being a pretty satisfying fight once I didn't die to it. One Abyss climb later, I was finally ready to start with the Act 3 bosses. Again, I went to Seth first. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little scammed in my first Seth on Seth. He started an attack when he was completely off screen and it blew me up. I'm not gonna say I was playing well, but I'm just gonna say, like, you know, I think there's a little bit of mixed use there. However, Seth was a bit of a wake-up call for me because I kinda had to actually turn my brain on and stop just mindlessly mashing, because Act 3 bosses are actually fast enough to punish you for it. And while I didn't struggle anymore with Seth as I beat him on this next try, it forced me to lock back in and start bringing back some of the stuff I learned with Reaper, like the down dash stuff or just playing more passively. Overall though, I am actually quite happy with how the Seth fight went. The first phase was clean and the second phase was pretty good. After fighting nyleth a bunch, I've realized that the hitbox is a little funky. You know, I don't like messing with it too much, and with Wanderer's tiny range on the down slash, I didn't really want to use it that much, so I just decided to completely avoid it and instead sit in front of the boss and use clawline for height. This works pretty well, but it isn't something I was used to yet, so it ended with me having a lot of deaths that would have been pretty avoidable had I just played more conservative. The thing is though, that is the story of the crest. You could probably do a lot better with it if you played passive, but why would you do that when you can attack so fast? I mean, just look at this, it's so fun. I love it. I'm just stimming the whole time, let's be honest. I will say though, for some reason, fighting nyleth like this with Wanderer is some of the most fun I've had in the game. Despite it taking a while, I had to play super quick and it was super high action because I was never touching the ground, but I also wasn't just like sitting in the air and going boing, boing, boing. I don't know what it is with Wanderer, conchflies, and me feeling like a god, but for some reason Raging Conchfly also felt so good to do. It was so satisfying. Maybe these boss fights are just good. I've never really thought about it before. This playthrough definitely moves conchflies up in my ranking of the bosses for sure. Hello everyone and welcome back to Coral Tower, the only area in the game that never fails to make me want to uninstall. Doing this with shorter range is actually even worse than normal, because the freaking flying guys are always out of your range and you can't do anything about it. They freaking fly away and I'm over here now, you can't get me. And then all of a sudden the guy who's like 30 meters away on the other side of the room just dashes across, fucking fastest man in the world. I mean, he starts spinning and like drilling into you. And then he hits you from the back.
After he came from behind.
That's a funny ass video for YouTube to recommend me. And the grand reward for climbing all the way up Coral Tower is Crust King Khan, the easiest boss of the act, and one with a stupid amount of health for what he does, so he kinda just slows you down and you sit there and you whack him for a while. I used Flea Brew for more damage, but it still ended up taking like 3 minutes. So there is fucking rage bait, dude. And you know the saying, out of the frying pan into the fucking the ninth circle of hell. The next place I'd go to is Verdania. I never enjoyed this place because of the green guys. They just be teleporting all over the place and then doing 2 damage with the fucking and then they throw projectiles and it's just like, what? You just like not. And they were not happy about the slander I've been giving them because they did not want me to get out of the hell room. Seriously, they kept just, these 2 guys kept destroying me. I hate these 2 guys. I also hate this one guy, who is still, in my opinion, the most annoying boss in the game. No, it's not Grohl, I think it's this guy. Luckily for me, there's some fruits below this ledge, so despite me being on 1 health, I can heal. Oh my god. How did I manage to do that? What the fuck? Normally I just use conchflies in the ant arena, but this is the first time where I actually just didn't pick them up. So instead I just started running it with conch cutter. I died a bunch of times here, but the arena is just annoying. Like, I'm just gonna skim over it anyways. How I've managed to do this at least once every time confuses me greatly, because these enemies are not difficult. Other than that though, as per usual, the Karmelita fight felt so clean to execute once I started playing well, and so just like all of the other videos, sit back, relax, and watch like 8 minutes of boss fights here, because Last Lace is coming straight after this. Oh, and I need parry on this fight, there's no way I can use anything else, so I switched immediately. Every single time I go back and fight Karmelita, I love this boss fight more and more, and with Wanderer this was no different. I don't really know how to explain it, but if you've ever fought her, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, after a quick trip through the red memory, which we don't need to talk about because that's not even the right crest, I could head to the Abyss and get true ending with Wanderer. I think Wanderer creates some of the most fast-paced and entertaining gameplay if that's your playstyle. I completely understand why someone who would want to play more defensively would also want to have actual range, but I have a lot of fun just gluing to bosses and doing absurd amounts of damage with my nail. Excluding red tools, I would probably put this crest like second in the game, but once you include them, it lowers it a little. I do love this crest, it especially gets a lot more fun in late game bosses, but I would recommend trying to use at least one other slower crest in your first playthrough because that will force you to learn boss patterns at least a little bit more. But if you feel like damage tanking everything, I mean, I'm not gonna judge you because that's exactly what I did in my playthrough, so like I cannot throw any hate at anybody. Hey look, that's the guy I stole the moveset from.